Welcome to the Selling to Corporate podcast, where we're going to be challenging your sales beliefs around selling to corporate organizations and help you increase your bottom line profits every single month. I am Jessica Lorimer, your sales expert and guide in this world of selling to corporate companies, skyrocketing your company sales and making the impact that you really want in the world. Now, don't forget, if you do enjoy the show today, please do head over to iTunes and leave us a review. But enjoy this episode, and I am really looking forward to sharing some epic sales wisdom with you. Hello. We are at the end of June, and honestly, I can't quite believe it. This year is just absolutely flying past. I don't know about you, but I am ready to settle into summer. I am not working in August this year. I'm very excited about that, as I frequently am. Excited about resting and taking some time out and enjoying some holiday time. So if you are also getting excited about summer holidays or freaking out a little bit that you are hitting the summer holidays and you have no idea where your sales pipeline is coming from, then it might be a good time to consider the C-Suite or the C-Suite VIP experience that I'm running in September. If you decide to join the C-Suite over the summer, there are some very, very special bonuses, which I'm super excited about. But the other week, I launched the C-Suite VIP experience. We have 10 spaces. We have half of the spaces are actually already gone by the time that I am recording this. We have 10 spaces for a C-Suite VIP experience, which includes not only the self-study course, the portal, the resources within that, including the strategies, the templates, everything that you need to make your B2B sales process as efficient and as effective as possible. And obviously the process that like hundreds of entrepreneurs have used to sell their own coaching, consulting, speaking, training services into corporates. But you also get 2 days in person in London with me and a small group of up to 10 people who are also going to be looking to make Q4 their best yet. And this C-Suite VIP experience is really for those people who know that they need time out of their business to be able to work on their business. So it's for those of you who know that you would love access to the resource portal, the strategies, the templates, but who also know that you need 2 days sat in a room with me and my brain, teaching you how to customize all the templates, supporting you to create your own personalized B2B sales process and actually making it then and there, so that all you have to do over the following 3 months is just continue implementing. If that is something that you are interested in, make sure you go and check out the show notes, because we've got a little video in there that gives you a bit of an explainer about the C-Suite VIP experience. Just for those of you who are listening thinking, oh my goodness, that sounds amazing, I want the salient details. I feel your pain. In all honesty, the C-Suite VIP experience, it will be the only one that I'll be running this year. It will be held in September. So we're actually going to be running it on the 9th and 10th of September in central London. And the investment for the C-Suite VIP experience is £5,000 plus VAT. If you are somebody who knows that you definitely want to spend 2 days in a room with me with 9 other epic entrepreneurs who are looking at selling their services into corporates more efficiently, more effectively, then make sure you check out the video for all of the details. And if it seems like something that's right for you, drop me an email and we can have a chat about whether there are spaces left. Yay! Super exciting. I want to talk about pricing today. Which is, it's interesting, isn't it? Pricing, I hear a lot about. I get a lot of questions about pricing, about my own pricing, about where people should display their pricing, about how people feel about their pricing. And in all honesty, every single time a proposal doesn't go through for somebody, they will say to me, Jess, was it because of my price? I thought it was about time we did a little pricing episode just to understand what really matters about your pricing and what really does not. Here are a couple of things that don't matter. Let's start with that. The first thing that doesn't matter about your pricing is where you put it. Okay, so if you have any services that are generically priced, and you can, after selling to corporates for a while, you might have workshops or licensed courses or software that you want to sell licenses to, you might have things that are generically priced. If you want to put those prices on your website, that's fine. If you don't, that's also fine. The reality of corporate companies and decision makers going and checking out your website is limited unless you're sending them there. In all honesty, it does not matter if you want to have your price on there, if you don't want to have your price on there, or anything in between. And by anything in between, I mean if you want to have some prices on there, but not others. All totally groovy. Groovy. That's such a 70s word, isn't it? But anyway, things that we don't need to worry about with pricing. 1, should they be on a website or not? 2, what other people think of them, right? I get emails all the time from entrepreneurs who say to me, Jess, I just don't understand how you can charge that amount, or why you would think that anyone would pay you that amount, or why you have such a high ticket price. And I get it. I also have lots of people, B2C and B2B, who pay me those prices and a lot more. What other people think of my prices or of your prices are none of your business. And I just want that to be super clear, because I see people honestly tying themselves in knots about what their price should be. And it's completely irrelevant to anybody else, and their opinion does not matter. Okay? Because there's always, in reality, going to be somebody out there who will pay your price, somebody out there who'll tell you too expensive, somebody out there who'll tell you you're too cheap. Everyone has their own opinion on it. And the great thing about selling to organizations instead of individuals or alongside individuals is that organizations and stakeholders in organizations are making those decisions based on transformation, based on potential results, instead of their disposable income and how they feel about that, right? So if you are running a B2B and a B2C business, you'll notice that selling to individuals is a lot of emotional management, right? It is, because you are selling to these people and you are asking them to spend their disposable and usually fixed income. What I mean by fixed income is that if they're an employee, they're only going to get paid a certain amount per month. That doesn't change typically. And you're asking them to spend that fixed income that they cannot change on something that you offer and on a potential result. And every consumer everywhere has been burnt, has felt the shame, the upset, the rejection around investing in the wrong thing, or investing in something that they didn't do the work on, or investing in something that looked amazing but actually sucked. Every individual, including myself, because even though I'm a very discerning seller, I buy everything. I love to buy stuff. Every single individual or consumer has felt those things. And when you are asking them to buy from you, you're asking them to take a leap of faith, right? You're asking them to invest things that they feel, or invest at levels that they might feel uncomfortable with. And everybody has a different tolerance as an individual for risk. Yeah. I talk about this with my CFO quite a lot. We talk about risk profiles, and me and my husband, we have very different risk profiles. I am an entrepreneur, have had my own business for the last 10 years, have always worked in sales, know that money just, is out there. If you are willing to sell, you are able to make money. You can always make money. Those are just things that I know from who I am and how I've shown up in the sales world. My husband has a fixed income. He works in the public sector. He wants to prioritize service. And, that makes me sound awful, doesn't it? Oh, Jess hates service. But, he prioritizes public service. And in the environment that he works in, there's always a lot of talk about budget freezes and spending cuts. And, it's a very, very different risk tolerance for that reason. So when we're selling to individuals, they have that same feeling of, this is my level of risk tolerance. And for some people, that level of risk tolerance as an individual is spending £50. For some people, it's spending 500. For some people, it's 5,000. And for some people, I've seen people over the years who've spent 15, 20, 25,000 pounds and upwards on coaching, programs, group programs, masterminds, luxury retreats, whatever. Everybody has a very, very different risk tolerance and risk profile. Whereas companies have their own, right? Because companies understand, just like you, just like I, that actually in the world of business, you do take on more risk. As my mum would say, you have to speculate to accumulate. And if they don't spend on training or consulting or coaching or motivating their employees through speaking, or they don't invest in done for you opportunities that would help them market better or communicate better internally and externally, then they know that they will struggle to thrive in good and bad economic periods. Right? They also understand that their income is not fixed. For companies to invest, it's about making sure that they understand the value and the transformation that you are going to be providing. All of that is a very, very different experience than selling to a consumer. Like I say, very, very different risk profiles, very, very different mindsets around it. And I think for some entrepreneurs, that's really challenging when we start then talking about price, when we start then talking about investments. Don't get me wrong, there's a whole other episode on mindset here, and maybe if it's of interest to people, I can do a case study episode in future on the difference in the clients that I work with who are selling offers under 20K and clients who are selling offers over 20K and some of the key differences in mindset. If that is something you're interested in, please email me or jump on LinkedIn and tell me there, because otherwise I am not a mind reader. I won't be able to know. I think that we have to start accepting that. When we think about the things that matter with our price, honestly, other people's opinions, whether they are stakeholders or consumers, it doesn't matter, because everybody does have that different risk tolerance. Everybody does have that different mindset around investment, and everybody does have a different price or priority on the transformational result that you're looking for. So if we know what doesn't matter, we have to start thinking about what does, because there are quite a few things when it comes to pricing that I see that I feel concerned about, and again, this isn't from I feel concerned because I should be building 300 businesses of all the people that I've ever met around the internet and worry about their pricing for them. But this is more of I'm concerned because there is this pervasive school of thought that if you are an entrepreneur, you should be investing in high ticket luxury retreats, coaching, masterminds. But when we approach corporate companies, we are worried that they might not buy something for £1,500, right? And it's almost like, because we're not selling to corporates through Instagram, where they can see our luxury lifestyle and be wowed by the fact that we went to Paris and ate some macaroons, which just as a side note, does anybody actually like macaroons? Because I don't. And I don't know whether there's something wrong with me. They look really nice. They look like the sort of thing that I should like. But then you bite them, they're just so sweet. And it's kind of like candy floss. It makes my teeth hurt thinking about it. Seriously, when we talk about selling to corporates, we are actively selling transformational results. We're not selling a lifestyle. And I think that's really difficult for people to get their head around, because when we see, particularly if we have come from the online marketing space, when we see the way that inbound leads are generated there, or the way that, outbound sales are done in that space, it's very much have my lifestyle, live my life, be super rich on a luxury retreat yacht, like whatever. And that's what people are selling. It's like the weight loss industry. If you, I don't know what's going on in weight loss at the moment. If you drink this special water, you'll lose 10 pounds, right? You can do it too. That's a very, very traditional weight loss marketing tactic that we've seen from companies over the years. Whereas when we're selling to corporate, what we're actually doing is proactively selling. We're saying, hey, we've noticed that you have a problem that needs solving, and here's how I could do that for you, or do that with you, or support you in doing that differently. And that's a very, very different mentality. And I think that's where sometimes this disconnect comes with selling to consumers seeming easier because you're just selling the dream, selling the lifestyle, selling what they could have, versus selling to corporates where you're actually going to be accountable for delivering a result, and they know it and so do you. And that for people can feel really difficult. And so when we start to look at the market, people have been telling me since, I was going to say since time began, but I wasn't teaching corporate sales as a 5-year-old. Let's say since I got into sales, people have been telling me, but Jess, you just don't understand. The market is good right now, so people don't want to pay this price. The market is bad right now, so people don't want to pay this price. They don't understand the service that we as company or that me as an individual is offering, so then they don't want to buy right now. There are tons and tons of reasons that people tell me every day that companies aren't buying from them. And this has happened for years. This has happened when I've been training my own sales teams and working in corporate. This happens when I go into companies now and train sales teams on how to sell more effectively. It happens with entrepreneurs that I speak to. Everybody feels like there is a reason that companies don't want to buy. And for most people, the easiest assumption to make, and for most stakeholders, the easiest objection to give is budget, is price. Because stakeholders think if they say budget is the issue, you're not going to push on anything. And usually they're right. And you think that price is the issue because price is the thing that you feel least confident about. So you don't feel confident in your own pricing or in your own negotiation skills. And that means that you often feel like price is the big issue, even if you haven't asked what the big issue is. Okay. So when we think about the things that are important when it comes to pricing and certainly premium pricing with corporate clients, there are 3 things that I think are really, really beneficial to remember. And again, if you are somebody who struggles historically with pricing your services, understanding how to use different pricing methods, understanding how to negotiate, it is time for you to join the C-suite. Let's not have any of this, oh my goodness, I'm going to wait another 6 months, I'm going to hedge my bets and see what I can do. If you're somebody who struggles with pricing and you need to increase your average transaction value per client, September is going to be the best time of the year to sell to corporates if you know what you're doing. So if you don't currently know what you're doing with pricing or negotiation or any other part of the sales process, make sure you join us, okay? There are 3 things that we want to think about when we're talking about price. And when I say think about, we're talking about considering them as opposed to these are the golden rules of pricing. But the things that we want to focus on are, 1, what the client is expecting. I was talking to a friend of mine recently who also used to work in sales. Most of my friends from the corporate world used to work in sales and dropped out after about 5 years, I think. There's only 2 of us that are left in sales after, 15 years since I started my corporate career. And I was talking to this friend about it, and we were talking about Taylor Swift tickets. So if you have not been living under a rock, you will know that Taylor Swift has been doing her Eras tour. I am insanely jealous of everybody who got tickets. I did not. And I'm loving seeing everybody's photos and videos and updates about them, even though I'm the green-eyed monster. But me and my friend were talking about Taylor Swift's Eras tour, and we were talking about the resale value of tickets, right? Because actually when she started selling tickets, her tickets were like £200 or £280, something like that. And we were talking about the fact that somebody as a reseller of a Taylor Swift ticket got over $16,000 for it. So the original ticket price was $280 and they sold it for $16,000. And we were just sat there and I was like, I don't think I would spend £16,000 on a Taylor Swift ticket. Like, I really like Taylor Swift, but would I spend £16,000 on a ticket to see her live? No. And it brought up this question or sales lesson for us that we'd learned over the years, which was you have to understand what a priority is or what the priority is for your client. And most people don't. So most people think that the only priority for their prospect or their prospective client is price. And it isn't. Actually, Good clients are focused on things like quality of service, speed of results, and that's what they should be focused on, because ultimately the result, the transformation is what they are buying into. It's what they're paying for. But often we can get so caught up in price potentially being the issue or worrying about price that we steer them away from talking about their needs, from talking about their problems, from talking about the reason that they desire a particular transformation. Good clients, good corporate clients are not just focused on price. They are focused on those other qualitative and quantitative results that come as a result of hiring an external coach, consultant, speaker, trainer, done-for-you service provider. That's what they're interested in. It's the result. And that's what they should be focused on to be a good client. Now, on the other side of that, you have red flag corporate clients or difficult clients. And people always say this to me. They're like, oh, Jess, I had this corporate client and, they were really difficult and I just couldn't have spotted it earlier. And I always think, there are red flags with difficult clients. I know because I've had a whole bunch of them. It's not that I don't like them, but it's like sometimes I ignored the red flags because I just hoped that they would be different. And sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. But red flag corporate clients are the ones who are only focused on price. Because at the point that they are only focused on price, you have nowhere else to compete, right? You can't compete on quality of service. You can't compete on speed of results. You can't compete on transformative experience. You can't compete on environment because they're only focused on price. And that gives a couple of red flags. It gives the red flag that obviously they're not interested in anything other than how much cash they're going to spend on something, which means they're probably not going to be as committed to getting the result that they say that they want. But it also can flag up things like them being the client who wants the most bang for their buck, right? Or in corporate jargon, they want maximum scope with the lowest price possible. And so whilst you might win the work with a client like that, if you decide to discount your rate or you decide to match their budget, you will always feel resentful because they will always want more. You will always have to do a lot more than you expected in order to get the result. And as somebody who's a good delivery partner, I always want the client to get the result I say they can. Whilst I'm quite happy to sit confidently in whatever my price is and say no to certain pieces of business because they don't work for me and I know I feel resentful, people who are newer or people who aren't as experienced salespeople, they're attached to that process, which means they will take that work and means that they will always feel resentful of those projects because they're always going to have to over-deliver in order to get the client the result that they want. It's also interesting for me that when we talk about pricing, when you compete on price, again, there's nothing really else that you're showing the client that you value or that they should value. So from a sales perspective, when you start competing on price, and there's a big difference, by the way, between competing on price and negotiation. But when you compete on price and it's not like for like, you are just demonstrating to the client that you don't value anything else about your service. You don't value the transformation that they're going to get. You don't value the results. You don't value the speed. You don't value the quality of service. You don't value the customer care or experience. You just value the cash. That's what you show when you only compete on price. Think about when you go to a supermarket, you go to Asda or Tesco or whatever big three supermarket. We're talking volume supermarkets. They compete on price. They're always looking for the lowest possible price, and it means their profit margins are a lot lower. And they always rely then on footfall. How can they be placed in an area where they're going to get as much footfall as possible? Because then people are shopping because they have to in that store, not because they want to, right? So they're not worried about customer experience. They're not worried about, making anything particularly different for a customer. They're just like footfall, volume, price. That's our strategy. You can even get price checkers now for supermarket petrol stations. So people can literally drive for however many miles to save 2p on petrol. And I'm not, by the way, if that's you, I'm not berating you for that. I'm just saying, like, you're not thinking, oh, I really want to go to the, I don't know, Tesco garage because the people in there are really friendly. You're like, oh, no, the app says that I'm going to save 3p a litre. So off I go. Yeah. Whereas when we think about shopping at independent, think farm shops. In the UK at the moment, there's a really good Amazon Prime series about Clarkson's farm. It's this guy called Jeremy Clarkson. If you are not based in the UK, you might not know who Jeremy Clarkson is, but basically he got famous for being a bit of an oddball, but really liking cars. And now he has, he's decided that he's going to start working on his farm. And whether you like him or not, he's done more for British farming than any farming minister in our government in, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 years by bringing awareness to it and, all these kinds of good things. But people go and they pay a huge premium to go to the shop on his farm because they're paying for the experience, right? They're paying to potentially see him or his other famous farmer friends or now famous farmer friends. They pay because they have seen how much work goes into producing the goods that they sell. They pay because they want to be part of something, to be part of, a tourist attraction. That's my cynical self thinking about it. Would I love to go? Obviously, but have I been? No. But people are paying for that experience, right? And it's exactly the same for you. When you compete only on price, your sales process has to change as a result. You can only sell based on volume, on the footfall, on the convenience, on them having to because they're so restricted by price, rather than quality, speed, customer service, results. And just final thought on the things that you should be considering around price is understanding how to price your own services and scoping out the reality of delivering the work versus what you think in that sales call moment or what the client dictates. Clients will often tell me, oh, but Jess, it's just going to be a couple of hours of your time to do this. To analyze our metrics reports, it's just going to be a couple of hours of your time. It's not. And that's also not what they're paying me for. They're paying me to have the expertise to analyze those reports. They're paying me to have the ability to articulate concisely where the problems are, to help them plan ahead accurately, forecast differently. They're paying me for my expertise and my analysis and the time it takes. That is what they are paying me for in order to get a result that helps them to generate more profit or reduce costs involving workforce or analyze, troubleshoot, and make processes more efficient, right? So always have that reality of what you're actually charging for when you quote a client, not just, oh my goodness, is it going to fit in their price range? Because clients will often buy things outside of the original budget that they set. You just have to show them it's worth it. If you've enjoyed this episode and you think I definitely need to work on my pricing, then you know where I am. Like I say, we've got those bonuses if you do decide to join the C-suite before September the 1st. And for those of you who want 2 days out in London with my eyes on your business, helping you build out your B2B sales process, get in touch. Definitely take a watch of the video. Get in touch with me. Let's see if we've got spaces and can get you into London and get your sales process rocking and rolling for Q4. I'll see you in the next episode.